looks so pretty. What's this one? Well, it's just too pretty, and we didn't really do comfrey.
Yeah.
Because we knew we were coming out, and we...
The purple flower.
Yeah. So comfrey's one of those herbs that I wouldn't want to be without wherever I live, because it's just so useful. And the most way I use it is for poultices. I just think it's really good for any kind of torn ligaments, or for helping them broken bones. It has the allicin in it that helps encourage cell growth. So it's just that, and also calendula does too. But if people will mess with it, I've never had people that will bother to do it not have good luck with it. But it's a little time consuming. Say, like one person that I was working with fell and broke his shoulder off of a horse, and he did go get his shoulder kind of reset, but the doctor says, you're pretty much out of work now for months, so that's going to take a really long time, and he needed that work. So I said, well, I know it will help, but it's kind of a pain to do. But you can just take the leaves, and there's a lot of ways you can do it. You could just take a big leaf like that and just steam it a little bit, and then just wrap it on whole, maybe a few, and then maybe put a plastic bag or something in a warm towel and keep that on. Or you can chop it up, and sometimes some people will mix it with a little oil or even cornmeal or something and make kind of like a plaster. Or, some people even freeze it so they can use it in the winter, and then just let it thaw, and put it in the blender or something with a little oil or something, and then put that on. But so poultice pretty much means anything about the plant right on the skin. But it's really useful that way. And my daughter broke her wrists at one time, so we would just kind of wrap them with the comfrey, and I think it really speeds the growth. It's also good tomorrow when we do our infused oils. It's one of my favorite oils, again, because it's going to lend itself to have that healing ability to encourage cell growth. Some people are so concerned that it helps the cells grow so quickly that you want to make sure that whatever wound or anything you put on is really clean, so that you're not sealing it up and closing in some infection or whatever. And then it can be used internally, for the respiratory system. Also, when people have broken a bone, many people have been using it internally just in large amounts to help with the strengthening the bone. There's that controversy that it has pyrrolizine alkaloids, and it seems to be the one that's singled out for that, although there's quite a few herbs that have this, like coltsfoot does too, and a few others. But the pyrrolizine alkaloids in laboratories where they fed massive amounts, not just of comfrey, the whole plant, but of the pyrrolizine alkaloid isolated out, it did give rats tumors in the liver. So what most people agree, well, I shouldn't say that, it's controversial. Some people pull everything of comfrey off their shelves and they won't sell it because of that scare. What I think is fine is if it's for your own use, you just use your own judgment. Like, I have a healthy liver, I'm vibrant, I wouldn't hesitate at all if I broke a bone, I would use it internally. There's no issues about using it topically, and then internally you just, use your judgment. I have heard that when they researched it, that the first growth has more pyrrolizine alkaloids in it than if you, like comfrey's another one that's so great, you can just cut it down, comes back. This has probably been cut, I bet. Either that or it's just laid down and died and mulched and feeding the ground underneath, and then the new growth is coming up again. But we grow way more comfrey than we could use, but we just chop it down and either cut it up and let it lay on the ground where it's at, or put it in our compost pile, because it just feeds the compost. We dry some just for our chickens, and now this time of year, because they were out in the pasture, they don't think it's great, but give them some in a month or two, they think it's like they're in heaven or something. Yeah. And then, like Josh talked about earlier, we said that so well about just how the roots go. This one goes really deep. It can have 6-foot tap. We're liking these roots right now. This taproot can be 6 foot long, and a new plant can grow from 1 inch. So I'm not even going to dig any of this unless somebody wants some right now. I hardly dig my root unless it's someplace where I don't care if it spreads. Most comfreys, as far as I know, at least the comfrey we have, it doesn't reseed itself. I don't know why. I don't see a comfrey plant coming up somewhere away where there's no comfrey. but I know some types do reseed, and Michael said he's seen some in Canada where it was just almost taken over a whole farm. So I don't know what the one is here, if you've had.
This is the type, I think it's the Russian, that doesn't spread.
Okay, this looks like what mine is, and the flowers are similar. And yeah, mine, I had one in a little garden in front that we brought when we moved to our house almost 30 years ago. And it was fine until we decided we wanted to start putting some somewhere else. And then as soon as we started digging up the root, now it's really spreading. It's pretty hard to get rid of once you do that. You have to be really diligent. There's some that's growing in a spot I don't want, and I'm not diligent enough, but I really just need to cut off the growth every time, you know. But on the other hand, we keep taking it out into the orchard and planting it out there, so it's bringing up nutrients for the trees, and also just lays down and mulches, and then it also brings up pollinators, so bumblebees like this, and other bees, so.
I think the real trouble the big scale farms run into is if they try to till it.
Yes, that's right. I've heard people say that too.
Yeah.
Well, they just thought they'd run their tiller through it, and like I said, from 1 inch, you can get a new plant. So then you have.
They just cut up one plant.
Yeah, where you had 5, now you had 500. Yeah.